Hello everyone, my name is Umu. I am React to the K's channel creator. Welcome to this interview with this K-pop producer. When you hear his name, you might think, oh yeah, he did Twice's Yes or Yes and also Heartshaker. Or maybe you thought, I know from his Love Bomb, but also he's produced so many other bops like Oh My Girl's Crime Scene, BAP's Hands Up, iZone's Eyes, Luna's Satellite, oh, my paper's gonna fly away, NCT Dream's Trigger the Fever, Kevin's Right Away, and a handful of songs for SF9, and a ton of other songs as well. Please introduce yourself and maybe tell us how long you've been in the K-pop industry.
Hi, my name is David Amber. I'm a producer and songwriter. I've been working in K-pop for, I'd say, about the past 5 years, hardcore. I've been kind of involved for the past 8 years, just a cut here and there, but 5 years, like, super hardcore.
We're gonna rewind the timeline quite a bit. Did you know that you were going to do music your whole life, or was that something that developed later on, like throughout high school when you tested out producing and learning instruments and stuff?
Yeah, so I was, I played piano since I was like 4 years old, and
okay, you're one of those people.
yeah, it was like one of those things where like I was a little baby and banging on the keys, and so my mother was like, all right, well he's gonna be a piano player, so let's do it. So I played. I wasn't very good because I wasn't really into the lessons of the kind of I think Alfred's was what it was, some kind of method learning, and I wasn't really into it. And I went through a bunch of teachers, and probably when I was like 12 years old, I had a piano teacher that he was a jazz player, and I wasn't really into jazz, but he taught me how to learn songs by ear. So finding the root note of the chord and figuring it out that way. And once he kind of introduced me to that way of playing and learning music, that's kind of where I was like, oh, okay. I started writing songs. Because I would just copy, what I was hearing by ear. Then I started listening to arrangements of records and stuff that I liked, and I was like, oh, this is the cool thing, the sound that comes out here and the guitar part that comes out there, and it's like this is what I want to do. I was never really interested in performing as an artist or being in bands or anything like that, but composing and the arrangement element of songs and records I was into from, I'd say, around junior high school.
And so then did you end up majoring in music as well? Or was composing always a hobby on the side as you went to college and stuff?
In high school, I did all the stuff. I was in marching band. I was the drum major actually my senior year.
Wow.
Somehow, some way, I don't even know. And I was in choir and show choir, and I did all the musical theater stuff, and anything that was music related. I was in jazz band, and I was into everything. But it was all kind of music, like playing, and it wasn't anything as far as production. And so I did, when I went to school, I went to Drexel University in Philadelphia, and they had a program called Music Industry. And it was like one of the first kind of hybrid music business, music tech programs. I know NYU had the Clive Davis School, and Drexel, I think, probably made something similar, like very soon after. My major was music industry, was the name, and with a focus on music production.
You're so well-rounded. You got the jazz band, you got the marching band, you got the production, you got the music business.
I just love music, like all aspects of not only music and theory and playing, performing, records. Like I love the business too. Like it's interesting to me, and it's fun to engage on that level. So I mean, why not learn everything I can about it?
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. Do you feel like all the experiences that you developed through music theater and jazz band have helped you become the producer you are today, having that knowledge of like all the different kinds of music?
I think so. I mean, I think it definitely gives me some kind of like, at least something that's different from other people. I mean, there's probably other people that have the same influence as me, and
mass majority.
Yeah, well, or just particularly producers that are making pop music today, or we're always the sum of our influences. So for me, I'm very happy with the sound and the style that I've kind of developed for myself, and I think it does give me at least some kind of uniqueness for making records having some kind of sonic stamp.
Right, right. When you first got into K-pop, which was quite a while ago, how did that happen? Did someone reach out? Like, did you already start producing songs and putting them out there, and then a label was like, "Oh, we want your music"? What was it? Uptension that was your first release?
It was actually my first release was, man, I want to say maybe it was 2012. It was Ho Young Sang from, he was SS501, I believe was the name of the group. So I mean, just that was the first cut. But you know, I got into K-pop. It was probably like during college, 2004, 2005, around that time. You know, we go to like Korean noraebang sometimes, and some of my friends would sing Korean ballads. There was like, you know, they would do some of the Korean hip hop songs like One Time, and
oh my goodness!
I think Big Bang was kind of just coming out around that time. So like I was aware of like K-pop, and I continued to like kind of like follow it. I didn't really listen. I was like in college. I wasn't really listening to pop music. It was like, you know, you had to listen to like underground, like, you know, that kind of thing. So I kind of kept following it, and then maybe around 2009. 2010, Girls' Generation, that era, that's when I kind of started following it like seriously. And I had just started producing pop music around that time, maybe 2010, 2011, because I'd never really written pop songs before. It was always electronic music, or, you know, just I wrote for commercials. And when I started writing pop music, I was just kind of doing it on the side because I was a commercial composer. And I just started sending songs out to people. And there was somebody that heard a couple songs that they were like, oh, this is cool. I can shop this. Like, this is, you know, good enough for me to pitch to labels and stuff. And then I met some other writers that were kind of involved in writing for K-pop and J-pop specifically. And so that's how I got my first placement. And I started meeting some of the people, other publishers, writers, labels, around maybe 2012, 2013. And then when I moved out to LA, which was 2006, like very beginning of 2016, that's when I kind of linked up with more writers and got more heavily involved in K-pop, yeah.
How often do you have to travel to Korea? I know a lot of fans are curious how it works being an international producer.
Yeah, I try to go at least once a year. Generally, though, like twice, maybe. I think I've gone 2 or 3 times. 3 was probably the most I've gone in a year. I try to go just to work with Korean writers, hang out with, you know, the A&Rs, kind of just be around. I definitely try to do it a couple times a year. This year's been a little bit different.
Yeah.
But generally,
why?
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some stuff going on.
No one knows why. Whenever you're traveling to Korea or whenever groups come here, do you ever interact or get to work with artists? I know I've seen on your Instagram, was it Hyolyn? And I know you've done a collaboration with Wenji, and I saw some pictures with Super M.
The picture with Super M, it was just a nice thing. We got to go to their show when they played at the Forum. And then I, you know, just got to meet them.
Your hookups.
Yeah, the backstage pass. And, no, so that was nice. But Hyolyn, yeah, we got my friend runs a production company. He works closely with her. So when she came to LA to work with some writers, you know, we were able to work with her, which was awesome. I mean, it was because I always liked Sistar. I thought that was like a great K-pop girl group.
Oh.
You know, the songs are fantastic. Yeah, iconic. Yeah. Just the songs are amazing, and she's just an amazing performer, singer. It's unbelievable. Like, you know, it was almost, when we were writing with her, it was weird because we were trying to, you know, I'd come up with some melody or she would come up with a melody, and we're like, man, I don't even know if this sounds good because everything you sing sounds just amazing. Yeah. I'm like, let me get in there with my crappy voice, and
then we'll see
if it still
if the
sounds okay.
Then,
yeah. And if I go to Korea, there's been opportunities for me to at least, you know, have some fun interactions with artists. You know, I got to meet Everglow pre-debut. They did a little showcase with us, and so we were able to kind of meet them, and that was really nice. So there's been some opportunities and fun things like that.
Well, speaking of Everglow, literally my next question is about them. One of your more recent songs to come out, which was Everglow's Good Boy, I was so curious about, or I am curious about the sounds in the track. It sounds like you recorded some glasses clinking together and then just messed with. Is that what happened?
That's funny that you, yeah. So actually, and I don't think there's any issue here, the original name of the song was called Milkman.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
So the idea for me was to, you know, have the blowing on the bottles and the, you know, the hits with the, yeah. So that was the idea of that was to kind of integrate the concept of the song with the sonics. So yeah, that's funny that you picked up on that.
It was so fascinating to listen to because I feel like not all the time do you hear acoustic, real life sounds put into, you know, a pop track with, you know, a popular group.
Yeah, that was real. I mean, that was actually
yourself?
me. Yeah, I had like it was. I can't remember if it was a plastic bottle or maybe it was like a Corona or something. I was sitting there producing, drinking a Corona or something, and just going, you know, something like that. But yeah, those were real sounds.
Do you often record yourself making noises and put it into your tracks, or was this
I do. For me, like my voice. There's a lot of me doing like, you know, breath noises and kind of like, you know, yeah, that kind of stuff. I do that quite a bit. Just different, like ow, because I have this low kind of voice, so sometimes you can throw that in a cool way.
Because I was wondering, when talking with some other producers, whether you ever just walk around and record random noises to use, or if you just go to the, you know, the sample library and buy what's already recorded. But
it's a mix of both. I have a song recently where I used some kind of like some kind of car noise. So I'm not gonna go outside with like a recorder and like,
like, hey, wait, slow down a little bit. Let me just,
yeah. So I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, I'll pull something there. But if it's something specifically, particularly if it's some kind of body percussion or something that I can do myself, yeah, why not? Because then it'll give me, it's nobody else can create that. It's mine. So
right. No copyright infringement there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Another song that I was really into the soundscape with, and also how the lyrics ended up matching to the soundscape, is Luna Satellite, which is a song you co-produced with Ashley Alicia.
Yeah.
And the lyrics just go so hand in hand with the soundscape. I was wondering, did you guys get together and you created the track from scratch together, or did you already kind of have like a bass line down and then you just worked on the concept together and it developed from there?
We actually were introduced by her publisher. She had, you know, they had sent me some songs that she had done. I was like, oh, she's awesome. I got you know. I think I had just come up with an idea, like a track idea, basic, like, because a lot of times we try to just like get chords and a beat down before we do the sonic landscape, because I think the melody can help dictate that and the lyrics and you know all that stuff. So when she came over and we did the set, like she already had a lot of the melody, and it was, you know, I was like, oh, this is great. This is our first song and it sounds amazing. You know, we worked it a little bit and got it to where it was, and then I think the sonics kind of were built around that. And the track itself, it was, I wouldn't say minimal, but it's kind of minimal compared to some of the other songs that I've done. It fell together like that because it was easy for me to do the sounds once everything else was in place. Some writers and some producers like to do a full track, it's fully done or 95% done, and then they'll give it to a top liner. But for me, I like to do something a little more bare bones and then build it around the melody, because to me that's like what everybody's really listening to anyway.
Yeah, that's why the experience of Satellite is so visceral for me. I mean, of course, the choreo that they made is absolutely brilliant with the, you know, everything. But do you ever think, when you say you produce around the melody, are the lyrics already there? Or is it just like, like little hum?
I mean, ideally what I like is to, when we write the song, the lyrics and melody, record the full vocals, like harmonies, everything, and then I'll see what needs to be done around after that's done. Because a lot of times, you know, you work on a track. If you do too much before you write the melody and the lyrics, and you do the full vocal production, a lot of times you'll have to take stuff out of the track because it'll just be too full when everything's in there. So a lot of times, once all the vocals are in, I'll be like, oh, this actually doesn't really need that much. For me, it's the best way to work. It doesn't always happen that way, but I like that.
Right. Do you ever think about text painting? Since the lyrics are already in and you're just trying to add the scenery and you think, oh, they're saying up, so I'm going to go like, like, is that
sometimes with K-pop it's a little different because many times the Korean lyricist is going to change a lot of it. We'll try to put in phrases that we think they can keep, but it's hard. I mean, that's easier to do when the song's going to remain in English.
Right.
You know, the classic thing that, like, you know, 10 years ago, like, you know, all the Max Martins, and they were all doing like the dough, like you know, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, that's easier to do when you know it's gonna stay that way. But yeah, if we can do that, we try.
Yeah, because with Satellite, I was just all the beeps and boops, and I was like, I'm literally just imagining a night sky like area.
Well, you know, that might have been when the lyricist got, you know, did what they were doing, like that might have been an influence on it too.
Gotcha.
They might have heard the same thing and they're like, all right, let's do that.
Yeah. Well, I've changed my concept because now we're going to talk about Fromis_9's Love Bomb, and that's an emotional trip for quite a few fans. So I need to cover up my tears while I talk about it. So yeah, a shared reaction between the majority of fans who listened to Fromis_9 Love Bomb for the first time was that we've are almost moved to tears when we reach the chorus. Was that emotional transition a planned out thing? Did you think that fans were going to burst into tears when we reached the chorus?
I didn't know. I mean, of course not. I know how I felt when I wrote it, but I don't, you know, I don't know how other people are ever going to react. The whole point of the song was the just big explosion of a chorus, you know, because the verses are kind of quirky. The pre-chorus is mellow. That impact of the chorus is obviously what we were going for.
Yeah.
And the track, those are the sounds and stuff that I just like. It's kind of a mix of, like, you know, J-poppy and then 80s and like all the elements that I just naturally sound good to me.
Yeah.
And then mixed underneath is this kind of like dirty electric guitar synth thing that just drones and is like, duh. So I think that gives it some kind of power with the prettiness on top of all the kind of the high synths and that kind of thing. So when I made the track, and then, you know, when we worked on the song, that was the idea, was to make it very emotional, almost like an 80s power ballad or something. You know, that's kind of the idea, living on a prayer or something. You know, something where it's just like very like it's just that kind of like hard on your sleeve emotion, like that's what you're going for.
You said you know what your emotions while you were writing it. Was it emotions first that came to your mind, like, okay, I want to make sure it feels this way, or was the first thing you thought about, okay, this is the style I want to go to in the chorus of the 80s love ballad type thing?
No, I just think it was more like I'll work it until I feel what I want to feel, right? So I wanted to feel that like euphoric, big lifting feeling of like, and the chills and the whole thing. That's like what I want. So when I'm making it, if it's not there, then I'll just keep working it. And once it gets there, then I'm like, okay, now it's at a place where it's feeling good. For me, I don't know how other people are going to feel about it, but if I feel a certain way, I can hope and think that some other people are going to feel that way too.
Right. Were you surprised at all when you, like, the comments started flooding in of like, oh my gosh, I'm crying at the chorus? Like,
I was happy. I was super happy. Like, you know, we work hard on these songs and try to convey a certain emotion. So when that connects with people, it's that's the whole point. You know, it's to have that connection of feeling and like what I felt when I made it. If other people are feeling that way on listening to it, it's like mission accomplished, you know?
Exactly. Speaking of shaking up people's hearts.
What a segue, wow.
Thank you.